Hi everyone. I feel we reached a nice number of 35 attendees, and hence we can start. My name is Mario Lovrić. I'm the PI of the Horizon NextAIRE project, and I will start sharing my slides. Let me tell you that during this presentation, I will have very often switches between contents on my shared screen. So please bear with me. Can someone confirm if you can see my screen? Davor, I think you have access. Yes, thanks. Yeah. So hi again. From the Horizon NextAIRE project. I will first tell you a couple of words about the project and our planned activities within it, and then we will go straight to the workshop. So this project has started in September 25, so we're now 8 months in it, and it will be lasting until August 28. Our core focus is to improve air quality using low-cost sensorics and AI, but this is the scientific part. We're actually more oriented towards developing talents, boosting interoperability, cross-sectoral circulation of talents with the primary focus on widening countries. Hence, we do have scientific goals, but we're more focused on developing the talents who are interested in that topic. Our strategic objectives are to strengthen the R&D base in widening countries, so kind of the new European countries with better trained researchers and innovators. And with that, we also want to support capacity in widening countries. For this reason, our project is mostly moving around, having a big number of secondments, so a lot of exchange of talents back and forth, improving the infrastructure, but also developing skills. We are 16 partners from 7 countries. Most of the partners are widening countries. So we have Scalia and the Institute of Anthropological Research on the top, being from Croatia, an SME and an institute, Vito, a Belgian institute, FTMC, a Lithuanian institute, SmartSense, a Croatian SME producing sensors, Demokritos, a Greek institute, IMI, also an institute from Croatia, the Lisbon Council, which is an NGO, INAR, a Finnish institute, M-Sensis and the Adikasia, both Greek SMEs, the Croatian Meteorological Society, we have the University of Sarajevo, we have the Faculty of Electrical Engineering from Osijek, Megasense, a Finnish startup, and Center, a competence center for AI. So you see we have different profiles, are mostly widening countries, but have both academic and non-academic partners. This is fit for this purpose for having circulating talents across Europe. Within this project, we have started with this workshop today, a series of workshops for mentors. The first one is on new tools related to mentoring. I was inspired with this by many of my mentees who are using a lot of new technologies, and hence I want to share this with you. It may be less interesting for those who are already deep into computer science and AI, but I feel you might hear 1 or 2 useful things for your kind of future workflows. And with this, we're starting the workshop or the presentation. So there is the question why mentors need the new toolkit, and there are more and more tools available nowadays for researchers, for writers, and there is an estimation that the tools available changed more in 2 years than in the previous 2 decades. So there is a big shift happening at the moment, mostly going around AI. And as mentors, or those who are mentoring in here, we cannot ignore this shift, and we need to adapt it, and shall not fear it. So this session presents a curated set of tools that I'm personally using. Not everyone is fond of all of them, and then many of my PhD students, everyone uses their own favorite tools. I have them all installed. Maybe this is suboptimal, but this is the state of the art. I think things would change even more, and it's on us to find what we deem fitting. So the goal is simple: leave today with one or two workflows you're actually willing to try tomorrow. The mentors are the ones who should know the tools, but keep the judgment, right? There is a lot of use of AI now. AI can draft, search, and summarize. But the mentor is the one there, but also the student or the mentee to decide what is true, what's useful, and what's worth passing on. So starting from the landscape, I just want to share with you, so you may be aware of that, but I always find it fascinating how fast things are moving, right? So we are at the moment in history which is very exciting. We have drug discovery in 40 something days possible, right? We have live translation on AirPods. We have 2 Nobel Prizes for AI work from 24. We have agents who can book for you, email for you, code for you, and we have even also a couple of years back a silver medal won at the international mathematics competition. So a couple of years back, I think we wouldn't have thought that this was possible, but now using AI, you can generate huge libraries of molecules which haven't been created yet, right? So you can computationally synthesize them. You can test whether these molecules are possible. You can run automated tests using robots, and then be very fast at arriving at the clinical trial. So this is a huge speed up in this type of scene. Besides that, you maybe have seen it as well. I'm so impressed by this, but we already have live translation using, for example, new AirPods. This is not an ad for iPhone, I guess. Others are also making this possible, or maybe already be there, but it's fascinating that we have translation from our AirPods nowadays. So AI is one of those things which made it possible. I mentioned the Nobel Prizes, so this was a huge win for AI. Both the Nobel Prize in chemistry and in physics went to inventors and scientists who have been using AI for protein structure prediction, but also general work on artificial neural nets. So I think this is a huge milestone for computational science to enter these until recently very experimental fields. Mentioned the silver medal, also impressive. These models are getting better and better, and we now have tools which enable you to install your own AI agent on your own computer back at home, and it can actually do things for you, right? It can answer your emails, it can manage your calendar, it can check you in for flights, you can connect it to your WhatsApp, your Telegram, you can send it a voice message, and back at home it will do a task for you, and while keeping it as private as possible. So this is the state of the art, and this is what we as mentors have to adapt to as well, regardless of which sciences we're in. Of course, this will probably be an easier job for those who are in kind of computer sciences, and we have many of those in the consortium, but we also have people who are in environmental, natural, social sciences, etc. And we want also you to try to catch up in this field. That being said, you may have heard there are a lot of AI models nowadays, right? There are a lot of LLMs out there. This is even an older slide, so we have many updates, but there's ChatGPT. This is probably the most known one. Perplexity, many are using Perplexity. I know for sure here in Croatia they are. Claude is becoming hyped recently as well. There's Gemini from Google, so those who have the G Suite or kind of in general Gmail are also using it more and more. And now we have also some models coming from far Asia, becoming also increasingly popular. So what does this mean for mentoring? So we are at the stage where you might ask yourselves, should I hire a junior? Do I need a PhD student, right? Do I need an assistant? This is at least sometimes the question I ask myself, right? What type of task should I pass on to an AI agent, and what type of task should I pass to a person? And I'm getting personally into these type of situations every day. So and this is creating also a moment in history, right, where companies stopped hiring juniors because AI handles the easy tasks, and you can really delegate a lot to AI. But we're also entering into the so-called junior death spiral, because if you're not hiring juniors and not growing talents, you won't have the seniors. And this is something that companies are facing at the moment. So it's also a bit on the mentors, on how juniors should survive this coming wave. And we don't know what next year or kind of the future will bring regarding new technologies. So there are still many things where why we need juniors, why we need young people, why we need to grow these talents, right? We still AI is still a lot of black box. We may want to kind of do some cognitive offloading, but need a lot of the human touch, and AI generated drafts. It's flooding everything. There is no filtering, and we have to figure out how to balance between these two. So this is a huge discussion. This is not something we will fix today. This is something I want you to think about, because everything is changing very rapidly. I'm talking daily, weekly changes in the scene. But we as mentors should try to find our own way to keep up with this, to select what we work with, but still be open to the challenges of periodically adapting something new into our workflows. And for that reason, I will now pass through some tools which are known to me. And I'm finding really kind of weekly new tools. So some of those may even be outdated. We're still using them, but you never know. Maybe next week we will be already using some of the new ones. So yeah, I've tried to structure this. There are many of those, but these are the ones which are relevant to me and the people around me. The structure is kind of going into collecting, organizing, analyzing information, and collaborating with others. And there is a lot to it, right? We do work a lot with computer sciences. So you have the whole pipeline starting from if you're going into research, how do you manage, how do you find your scientific literature? How do you communicate with your team? What's the most efficient tool? How do you communicate across teams, and how do you collaborate with having so many tools? This became also very heterogeneous. And then note taking, organizing these thoughts is also a thing I want to mention here today. And then finally going into presenting these creating nice graphical abstract, creating nice presentations, etc. So this is the roadmap for today. So starting from notes, literature, and references, going into knowledge, some ideas for knowledge management, talking a bit further about AI, project and code management. I feel this is interesting, and then a bit more on communication and presentations and communication. So, tools for notes, literature, and references. And here I'm mentioning just a few again of those which we are using at work, right? So there is a lot of information out there and more every day. So the idea is to collect those, to structure them properly, and to find the most relevant ones. So the first thing to introduce is a tool I find very useful is Notepad++. It's maybe not worth to mention if you're not working with data, but this is a very flexible tool which can open everything from text files and kind of going to code files, but also some weird sort of data where if you don't have an idea what to open this type of data with. So it's as I said, it's very flexible. It has a lot of extensions, and it will be useful if you're using Claude as your kind of AI support, generating these markdown files and any other of type of files in between. So it's a very general tool to open all types of files. So I would recommend having this one on your PC if you're working both with AI, but also having any type of unstructured data. Then, even though there are a lot of tools for reference management out there, there is Mendeley, there is I think EndNote, but we use Zotero. This is our primary tool for reference management. There is a free version of it, and by the way, Notepad++ is also free. But Zotero, there is a free version. I think it's good enough. It works well, but there is also a premium version of it, which many institutions already have. If you don't have it, it's also good for teamwork. There is a nice integration with Microsoft Office, and it's kind of easy for handling references. But an even better thing is there is an integration with Google Docs. So right, so if you're having G Suite as your email solution at work, like we do, for example, like we have the Gmail solution for our institutional email addresses, then you also have Google Docs, and then collaborative working is quite intuitive. I feel it's even more intuitive than working in SharePoints and OneDrives, especially when you want the reference plugin, right? So Zotero has a plugin for Google Docs, and this makes collaborative working on papers easier than before when it comes to reference handling. Then something we also use a lot is connected papers. There are other tools as well. These are visual search engines for academic literature. So it basically functions like creating a network of research papers based on similarities. So how it works? So I will show you these tools later on, kind of in a demo session. But you type in the paper you're looking for, or type in their DOI code, and then it creates a network of similar papers around this one. So you can explore this network and maybe find papers you haven't been previously thinking of, or you haven't found before in your literature research. One of the more powerful tools recently is Notebook LM. I think many have already seen this. If not, this is definitely something to explore. So it's ran by Google as well. I haven't explored if there is a premium version of it. So far, I've been working for free with it, but haven't been working much. You can upload the documents you have. You can upload the PDFs, the papers, the related websites. You can hang YouTube videos, and then you can create your own AI-driven notes. You can generate all sorts of contents, images, abstracts, or in general just have a collection of interesting things for yourself over a long period. So I think it's definitely a must in everyone's toolkit. This is something I've been using. There are also alternatives to it, which I will mention, but I think this is a good start for organizing your thoughts and materials using AI. Then there are several tools on knowledge management, which can also be connected. And even though I think there are many out there, I want to mention three of them, which are Claude, Obsidian, and Notion. So there is this big idea to integrate those, and they do have points of integration. So Claude is like ChatGPT. It's an LLM. There is a free version. There are premium versions. There are pro versions of it as well, and it basically has the same type of usage styles as you would use your ChatGPT tool as well. Then there is Obsidian. This is a Markdown-based notes app, and I will show you this app later on. But basically, it can create a knowledge graph based on the information it was fed. And then there is Notion. Notion is also a Markdown-based tool. You can use it for creating some sort of wiki similar pages and databases. It has all sorts of templates for things, and it's nice to collect your thoughts and notes. But the interesting thing is they can be integrated. So as said, Claude is this type of integration can be seen as some sort of your second brain, right? So Claude has a nice integration also on your desktop. So it's an LLM like ChatGPT, like Gemini. It's very advanced, especially for coding and writing. I think it's becoming increasingly capable and popular as well. But the good thing is you can have you can run it from your desktop and run it within your folders, meaning you can do a lot of work locally. So not constantly uploading files somewhere, but you can also run things on your laptop as well. It uses tokens, so there is a limit to it depending on whether you have the free or the premium model, but it does work locally. And this is exactly the connection it can create to Obsidian, right? So Obsidian is good for note taking and creating knowledge graphs. So what you can do is you can run Claude on your desktop, and you can have also Obsidian installed on your desktop, and they can have an interaction, right? So you can use Claude for extracting information from PDF, for extracting information from tables, or generating some thoughts, ideas, whatever it is you need from this type of tool, and then you can use Obsidian to kind of feed on it and present you these structure files you have been generating with AI. And this is this integration which supports this idea of having your second brain on your laptop and speeding up your research project. The same with Notion. We'll show you this one as well later in the demo session. But the general idea is note taking, but it can also be connected to Claude. You can also do task management. Wikis have databases which are feeding back into your AI, and then once you set up the system, the speed up you have in your line of work, in your research, is growing very fast. Now a bit some other notes on AI for research. I've already mentioned some of them, but I will just scroll through them again. They all have their specialties, but also have a lot of similarities. And the point of decision is, I, yeah, price-wise they're also the same, right? I mean, plus minus, but usually around 20 euro per month for a premium version. There are some things like, if you have I think if you have a Revolut card, a premium one, then you can have Perplexity Pro. At least it was some time ago. But I started with ChatGPT, moved on to Gemini because back then I felt it was a bit better at coding for Python. And now recently I moved to Claude and I canceled both ChatGPT and Gemini. So it's really kind of an individual decision what you want to go with, but I moved more into Claude. But this is as I said a personal decision. Every one of them has their pros and cons. But the big question is using AI in general, right? So I feel we're past the point where we can ignore it, right? So being a mentor of a master thesis nowadays, you can pretty much expect that this thesis will be written by AI. There is a recent paper which I will post later on into our chat, and we will have a short discussion. But nowadays, not only nowadays, I think the first master thesis I saw written by ChatGPT was 3 years ago, right? And it was a bit of a sloppy language back then. And then you could have easily recognized parts which were written by ChatGPT. Nowadays, it's becoming more difficult. Language is very good. These models are very skilled, and we're now coming into an age where kind of the master thesis, as we know it, is dead. This is the idea. Something we will discuss and also discuss how what type of shift do we need now regarding drafting thesis and how knowledge and this maturation process of knowledge will be driven in the future. So it's very easy nowadays to just give it a topic. It will find you the reference. It will reference. It will do the coding for you. It will do the statistics for you. It will visualize and can even write the paper. Right? This is where we are. The question is, we as mentors, how do we manage it? How do we manage that there is still a maturation process within the mentees, that there is still knowledge generation, and that there is still space for creativity? So it's there, but we need to be the ones who need to manage this properly. Um, Yeah, this is a summary of AI, but as said, it's moving very fast, right? So I think this slide is even a couple months old, so probably, in a month from now, there will be a shift again in those, right? So we're saying at the moment that there are strengths of AI, which is summarizing, paraphrasing, rewriting text, catching typos, debugging your code, sketching first drafts, turning some rough notes into a nice prose style of writing. While there are also weaknesses where we're still saying it hallucinates, right? It invents references. This is less the case, but I've noticed today, for example, that when I'm trying to load a paper into an LLM from a link, that the publisher is blocking it, right? So some time ago there was a paper saying, the LLM will lie if it doesn't have an answer, right? So hallucinations are still there, but less and less so. There's still a lot of bias towards the average, the safe, the expected, right? There are safety concerns around using AI. There's ethics, so it will bias some of your answers to satisfy these criteria. Very often it's overconfident in writing sentences and having statements, so one has to be very critical about using those. Now moving further with the tools, I want to say something about project and code management. So the code management part, this is something which is interesting for our project, but I feel these tools have more potential than they used to have. So it's not only code management nowadays. And I'm talking primarily here GitHub, GitLab, but also, and yeah, it goes beyond those. So these originally they were version control tools, right? So you can imagine working with a couple of software engineers, with a couple of computer scientists. It was difficult to track who did what and what type of changes happened in these projects. But in the end, programming code is text, right? So that means that if these tools can be used for text, then they can be used for other type of contents as well. So GitHub is a version control system tool which is owned by Microsoft. It's commercial. Of course, there is a free version of it, and there are commercial packages. It's basically meant for hosting your programming code. That means if you have been working with Python, if you have been working with R, if you have been creating scripts for analyzing your data, you can host it there and you can share it from there within your team. Keep it a private repository, but also keep it a public one, and things become public. This is even more important with the whole funding scene moving into fair data, so everything should be available into open source code, etc. And GitHub can help you with creating these repositories and satisfying the criteria also from your funding agencies. That being said, our own project NextAIRE has a e-learning platform, and this one is hosted on GitHub. It's open, it's available to everyone. If you're interested in Python and air quality and low-cost sensors, technologies, etc., machine learning, this is a good address for finding some useful information on all of those topics. It's under development, and this is one of our tasks in the project to develop this e-learning platform. We still have a couple of months to go, but there is already a lot of content in there, and as said, it's out there, it's available to you. So just type in NextAIRE e-learning platform, and you might find it. We are, as you see here from the screenshot, we're constantly updating the content there. It's free knowledge, and then everyone interested in these topics can use this for their own trainings. Of course, there is an alternative to GitHub. This is GitLab. It has a very similar setup. As said, yeah, same functions, but just a different type of tool. Both GitHub, GitLab are, if you keep them open, you have to be aware these are public platforms. AI models can use those for their own improvement, for their own learning, and your inputs may be used to train models. This doesn't go only for code, but also goes for your any sort of open access paper. This has been a huge issue, especially now with kind of the political shifts we have been seeing. So keep this in mind, right? Whatever you type in whatever you do in GitHub, whatever you do in some sort of other repositories which are open, or whatever you do with AI, this is information which is stored somewhere. Um, I still think personally, knowledge should be free and data should be free, but sometimes you have sensitive data, sometimes you just have data you don't want to have it out there. This is especially in line with GDPR, with kind of some privacy protection, etc. So if you have patient data, if you have some other sort of personal data, contracts, etc., be careful with those. This is information which is being stored. This is also one of the motivations why people started installing LLMs on their own computers at home. We will also probably have one at the institute soon. So an LLM, which will help us with our research, but will keep things private. So, and probably this is also yeah, at least one path we will go regarding research and AI. So you have done your research, you have collected your information, you have stored those information, you have processed them, and now it's the question of presenting, illustrating those, etc. Since we are kind of very close to chemistry, bio, health sciences, etc., we also have some tools which are very yeah, very close to this field. I still want to present them because I think they're very useful, and one of them is BioRender. I will also mention Prezi for presentations and show it later on in the demo session. Prezi, so even though today I'm presenting in PowerPoint, I'm more and more into Prezi, and when I want to make an impression during my presentations, this is definitely the tool to go for me. Again, free version, premium version available depending on what you need. There are also some sort of discounts for academic licenses, both with Prezi and with BioRender, and it's a bit of a non-linear moving through content, and I like it very much, but it also has a lot of AI support, which I will show you later. BioRender, we'll also show it in the demo session. It's an amazing tool for creating scientific illustrations. I feel it's going beyond biological sciences, beyond life sciences, but it's very powerful for life sciences. One can create beautiful plots, also kind of from your own data, but it's very good for graphical abstract, and if you want to make an impression even in your written projects with the structure, with the schematic, etc. So those who are in life sciences, I feel it's becoming a must if you want to create nice pictures. Also, there's a free version, there's a premium version, like with everything here. And there are some limitations when you want to publish those. Yeah, so everyone is running at a subscription models nowadays, but I feel with even with AI you can generate a lot of nice pictures. As said, for us in life sciences, BioRender still has an advantage in generating those. So the next chapter is on communication and team collaboration. And for me, this is sometimes a bit of a challenge, as there are many tools out there. And I belong personally to many different groups, collaboration networks, etc. And I have them all. I have Slack, I have Microsoft Teams with a couple of accounts and affiliations, and I also use Discord. So Discord, Slack, this is something which is coming also a bit more from computer sciences. Also very popular tools. Also have the free and premium versions. And this is a solution if you want to avoid tools such as Microsoft Teams nowadays. Now we have seen an uproar in Europe, France, Germany, trying to move away from some of the imported software solutions, and I guess there will be a couple of new stacks in the future. But so if you're looking for a Teams alternative, because Teams has quite a price to it, right? So I think it's maybe 20-30 euro per person in a team, if it's a licensed solution. So and I feel like they have blocked the interaction between private Teams accounts, what used to be your Skype account, and with business accounts. So basically, you need to add people to your company licenses, etc. So it can be quite costly. The advantage is it's basically has a solution for everything you need at work, right? From full integration of Office, chat. We're now using Teams for here for running this workshop. It's very useful. It's very versatile. Has a lot of options. Managing your calendar too. Easily managing users. So yeah, it offers a lot with the price. Yeah, finding an alternative is not an easy task, right? So Slack, Discord are kind of halfways there, but both Slack and yeah, this is yeah, this also has premium versions, right? And has a lot of points of integration with other tools. And there is Discord. I feel also a bit similar to Slack. And yeah, similar use mostly for chatting. So I have told you a lot, but the thing is there are a lot of these tools out there, and this video is being recorded, so you can always revise it. And I know it was an overload, but we will have this also in a demo session. The point of this being, a mentor should be on top of things, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that a mentor should have every tool installed and run every tool which I have presented today here, and there are even more out there. But be on top by means of talking to the people, asking what they use, how you can learn from the younger generations. What do they think is the most efficient to work with, etc., and then try to build an opinion of all of those collected information. And this is something I have been doing. So I have reached out to all of my PhD and master students and asked them what they use, how they use it, etc. And this was the starting material for this collection and presentation. There are pros and cons to all of this. But the general workflow we have in our work is, collect, organize, think, and for me it's mentor, right? So for collecting the data, we had Zotero connected papers, for example. Then organizing thoughts, Notion, Obsidian, AI as well. Think, this is a non-trivial thing, right? But thinking is both human thinking and nowadays the AI thinking as well. So creating something useful from all of those contents which you have produced. And then for us mentors on top of that, it's trying to manage all of this, trying to keep the relationship, but still the judgment and being able to make a good final decision out of those. And I think this is not an easy task at all. And we will face many challenges in the future. And probably the most important thing is that kind of to be adaptable and try to follow this as much as possible. There are still things AI can't do and we can, and it's a personal opinion, but we should probably focus on those that we can do, right? Which is the creativity, which is the judgment, which is thinking of our accountability in both research but any other line of work. So the first thing to do is, and it's also showing you a tool, is that I want to understand where you're coming from, and yeah, a bit also on how you feel about these things. So I will be showing you now a tool called Mentimeter or menti.com. So you should be able to see a QR code. Let me know if you see the QR code. Yeah, okay, works. And you see what this tool is about. It's about having interactive presentations in workshops, in your lessons, at conferences, etc. And I'm using this more and more. Again, it's there is a free version and there is a premium version. What's the limiting factor is the amount of people the number of people you can host in these sessions, right? So if it's a big session, then the free version just won't work out for you. There's also an educational plan. Yeah, again, like everything here, there is a subscription option. So this is very, very nice to understand your audience and to work interactively in any type of workshop. I will just give it a couple more seconds so you guys can join. Just use your phone or go to menti.com and then type in the code you see 68547257. But the phone solution is actually a neat thing for using in workshops. Okay, we have 30 people joined. So I'm interested in what scientific fields do you feel associated with, or where you're coming from, right? As you know, in NextAIRE, we are very diverse. We have low-cost sensorics, so hardware people. We have software people, who are into AI, data processing, etc. Environmental scientists, all sorts of field in there. Life scientists as well. But yeah, we also have at the institute we have researchers who are working in social sciences, humanities, psychology, etc. So most of you are natural sciences. I'm happy to see that. I hope that this is useful for you, that you're managing to see some new stuff in here which you haven't seen before. Yeah, let's go to the next slide. If you're in sciences, which career level option corresponds to you, right? So I'm curious whether we managed to get a lot of mentors in here. We were primarily aiming at mentors. But yeah, those who are at the PhD level, you may become mentors in the future. So I'm happy you joined. Okay, we have the majority of young professors, assistant associate professors, and yeah, this is a very nice composition to have in this workshop. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when thinking of new tools? Or maybe you shouldn't focus on now the workshop we had, but in general, kind of before the workshop when you were thinking about new tools, what's your kind of first association or associations? Thanks for your responses. I feel there are many interesting things in here. Definitely very dominant is AI and faster work. I agree. There is a work overload, especially nowadays with funding. So you may not be aware of that, but I think back in, starting from 2020 to maybe 23, for Marie Curie postdoc fellowships, there were around 6 to 7 submissions per year. I think last year they had 17,500, which is, going from 6, 7 to 17.5. This is quite an upgrade. And this is due to AI, right? So that means that all of us, we have to write more, we have to write faster, etc. So this is definitely a topic for a mentor workshop. Smarter, I agree, goes with faster. But I also see some interesting things such as do I really need it? I guess it depends, right? If you, it depends whether you want to scale some of your solutions or not, right? The more people you mentor, the more you do need it, right? To work in a scalable fashion. But yeah, I agree. There is some fear to all of this, especially on my end, because things are changing so rapidly. I feel like often not being able to keep up with all of those, right? Then asking myself whether my own work will become obsolete one day. Going to the next slide, how much do you agree with these statements, right? I want to understand. Sorry, there is a part in creation. It's on the left side is I don't agree. On the right side is I agree with these statements, right? This is interesting as well. Right, so yeah, I feel like people are managing to keep up with the times we're in and exploring these new tools, but there just still might be some more room for developing this further. Do I have a next slide? Yeah, I'm curious about how many people you're mentoring at the moment. So at any level, right? So PhD candidates, master students, postdocs, or any other type of employees, so professional associates. Yeah, maybe you're from the industry and then have kind of non-scientific staff. Yeah, so there is a lot of activity with master students, and they're early adopters, right? So they adopt these solutions. They have grown up basically with AI, so they're early adopters, and they're using these tools much more frequently than we do. I'm talking about mentors here. Um, so yeah, we definitely need to try keeping up with those. I'm also curious about the tools you're using, and it's related to a lot of those which we have mentioned today. So how would you rank these tools according to the frequency of using them? Thanks. Yeah, this does make sense. There are a lot of coders in our consortium. Yeah, Python are both kind of programming languages to be used in research. GitHub, yeah, also a lot present, in, especially in our project. There's still many people who haven't tested Notion. I'm happy to show you this. Zenodo is an open, so it's kind of a public repository for storing data, finding data as well. This is something we also use in the project. Good. I'm about to end this presentation, and I will quickly guide you through all of those. This is kind of the demo session part now, right? So I will quickly guide you through the tools I've mentioned in the presentation. You should be able to see my complete screen now, right? There is still the Menti presentation. Can anyone have a thumb up just to confirm that you see this? Thanks. Okay, so connected papers, right? This is one of the things we have mentioned, and I will try to look for a paper here. I'll try to zoom in a bit so you kind of see it a bit better. Zoom in. Yeah, now it should be better. Right. So yeah, this is one of the works we had recently on sensors, CO2 schools. Let's check this whether it will find this. There it is. It has found the paper. It's a thing again, right? There is a price to this. You can use it for free, but then if you want priority, yeah, there are options to pay for this. But yeah, we haven't been waiting for long. So this is our paper, right? This is our paper, and then it has built a knowledge graph around the topic, right? So you see here, so ours was CO2, local sensors, schools, AI. Then we see the kind of the neighborhood, right? There is indoor environmental quality in schools you know, it's from Austria. I think this is probably on the same group. Korean classrooms, right? Again, Kim here. Albertine is ventilation strategies in educational buildings, right? So it does make sense. So when you're exploring literature, of course you will. Yeah, it's. I see the question now. I think it's similar to ResearchRabbit. I haven't been using ResearchRabbit. I think some of my PhD students have, but yeah, it will probably be quite similar to this. Good. Moving on to the next one, I guess you're all familiar with ChatGPT. There are alternatives, but this is one of the more popular ones. The thing you maybe haven't been exploring is the agent mode, right? So this is much more sophisticated, and yeah, this can really work instead of you, right? So while we're exploring other things, I would just ask it to can you create a PowerPoint presentation for mentors of, I don't know, air quality related PhD students to present new AI and other software tools in mentoring. Okay. So what it does, it triggers an agent, all right, and this is really some serious work. I can't tell whether this is available on the free version of ChatGPT. I know for sure it's available on premium, but there is also a limitation of how many of these agents you can use per month. Yeah, it's really running a huge job. You see now it's writing here, it's setting up the desktop. And then it will now look for resources and it will create the presentation for me. So really a file which I can download and use it later. While this runs, I will scroll through the other tools, right? So there are also European alternatives for AI agents. There is Mistral with le chat, people like to say le chat, le chat, not sure, in French. Yeah, it's a European version. There are also other alternatives nowadays, and I think we'll see more of those as Europe is moving towards some sort of independence in these things on the political scene. I think this will become increasingly popular as well. So yeah, many alternatives to this. The nice thing, or a nice type of integration is, I've seen some of you are using LaTeX or LaTeX. It's a type of how to call it, document generating, document writing tool which is also something which is coming from kind of more from math, physics, computer sciences. And you can write, people use this to write for writing papers, right? It's a bit different from Microsoft Word or some sort of open Word, open Office, which we call what you see is what you get type of tools, right? Here you basically code your text, right? So yeah, do I have some past projects in here? Let me check. Yeah, all of this is something I will probably not show, but yeah, my actual intention was to show you how you can integrate this with AI. So basically you're coding here, right? This is some sort of coding. At least this is how I would call it. So what you can do is you can, I'll test this with Mistral now because ChatGPT is doing another job, is can you generate a conference poster in LaTeX to be pasted into Overleaf on the topic of mentoring AI related PhD students. Okay. I have to accept it. And now you see it's generating code. Yeah, it can take a while, but this shouldn't be overly long. Okay, let's take this code, right? Copy. I'll just paste it in here and hope this will compile. Didn't work. Didn't work. I'm not sure why. I won't be troubleshooting now. Just check this. Okay, I will run the same job in Claude. And this is also a good opportunity to show you Claude AI. I'll just briefly stop sharing this one and share another one. This is Claude, right? It's this is something I have on my desktop, Claude Code, and here I will ask the same question. I'll just copy the one from Mistral. So this is something which, as said, it uses tokens, right? But this will be generated on my my desktop computer. It often asks, you know, what it can, what it's allowed to do and what not, right? If you see here, it says use skill LaTeX posters. So I said yes, you can use. You see here it counts the tokens. It's thinking, right? And yeah, we will wait for I will share something else until we wait for this one, right? So I'm running now jobs in parallel. They're all working instead of me. Sorry, screen, screen. This one. Good. Okay, let's see how our ChatGPT is doing, right? So yeah, it's now scrolling Copernicus. I think this is quite impressive, right? So this was the job of creating a PowerPoint presentation for mentors of air quality related PhD students. Okay, so this is the agent, right? Let's move on. This is our not working LaTeX, but I hope we will see some improvements there. No, ResearchRabbit, I opened it just for my curiosity. Yeah, it seems very similar to Connected Papers. Yeah, it's also creating a knowledge graph. GitHub, here I have opened, I mentioned GitHub before. It was originally a version control tool. Now it's very versatile, right? So you can do all sorts of things there. We have our projects e-learning platform there, right? So if you go to data science, um, yeah, you see here all sorts of modules, contents we have created for learning Python, for example. Yeah, you can see here all the, now we have the latest video here of the course we have held, and yeah, so GitHub is a very versatile tool for not only for code sharing but also working on other materials. You see here we have contributors. These are our colleagues who are working on this actively. And yeah, so our project has has its own GitHub website where it kind of, you know, describes the project. You can use it also for your other projects. It's basically free, right? So we have I think this is, yeah, this is one project of ours. Another project from the institute. You see, we have created a GitHub page. It's a new project. Very simple website. You can use AI to generate a website and host it basically for free on GitHub. Good. Now let's go back to our agent, see where they are. So if you remember, I've asked Claude to code. Okay, ChatGPT is also still doing its work, the agent. Now we're moving further, and we'll get back to those. This is prezi.com, the tool I mentioned for presentations. It's I feel it's very nice. So the way I had, this is a no, wait, here I had the presentation from our past project. This is something I can share. So you can see it's kind of visually, it needs some time to load, but it's visually, I feel it's much stronger than using PowerPoints, right? So you're basically starting from a big screen and then you're moving within your big picture and going into details and creating quite a visual impression, right? So yeah, this is not only kind of linear moving through slides, but you can also kind of go back and forth between things. So I think it's it's nice if you want to make an impression with presentations. Meanwhile, I'm giving further instructions to Claude. Our ChatGPT agent is still working, so it's really delivering some hard work. Yeah, this is the question, right? Would the junior do this amount of work in that time? I'm joking, but I still feel we need juniors. We just need to give them a proper training, the proper tools to work with, and this will also increase theirs and ours productivity as well. Moving to the last tool I want to, not the last, but one of the last ones I want to show you is give me a second, is BioRender. I have Teams is kind of blocking the way here. BioRender is said very popular in life sciences, but I feel it can also be used elsewhere. Let's show. Yeah, this was published, right? So very impressive visuals, especially for graphical abstracts, for project proposals, in general for your papers, etc. Right? You have so many customization options, going into colors, details, yeah, also text. So it's a very impressive tool for using in research. As said, there is a price to it, right? So one more thing I wanted to show you about Prezi is that you can use also AI to generate the Prezi presentation, which so I've asked it before to create a presentation for me before we started this workshop on multiomics, and here it is. This is, I haven't intervened a single thing into this one, right? This is a presentation with which was created based on just a couple of instructions of mine, right? So multiomics in population studies, right? Every single thing here you see was created by the AI. I haven't done any sort of interventions. And here I feel still it's quite an impressive set of slide which was created here. Okay, now I have Claude has generated something. I will go back to Overleaf. Overleaf is here. Let me check on my desktop what Claude has created. So I've asked it the same set of instructions as I did with Mistral. Just a second. Just need to find it. Claude. And X. Okay. And for some reason, it's opening the file in my. Try something else. Okay. And code. There it is. Okay, let's check this one out, whether this will work. Yeah, there it is. Nice. Okay, so this was the same instruction I gave to Mistral. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't be telling this in such a workshop, but apparently Claude has won here. So I've asked it to create a mentoring AI related PhD student's presentation. This is the content, right? It has coded the solution and has created the conference poster. Of course, my instructions were bad, but it has a lot of potential, and you can just download this as a PDF, and you have a conference ready poster. Yeah, this is not the poster you would go to a conference with, but as said, it has a lot of potential. ChatGPT still working, right? Curious about this one and whether we will make it at all within the course of our session. But you see, it's working hard, right? It's really doing a lot of work, and yeah, can replace some of the easier tasks you have there. Two more things I want to show you are Notion. Notion is, as said, it's a yeah, document collector, thoughts collector. It works on the Markdown principle as well. So you see, I have basically all of my things stored in here, right? So some repositories, codes I found useful, some funding calls, etc., some code snips, some stuff I want to learn. Yeah, I have even some list of my favorite wines in here, some cooking stuff, recipes, some project drafts, a list of potential partners for projects, all sorts of things I have in here. And this is looking very nice, right? So you can this is you're exploring the documents at several levels. You can add tags to it, right? So yeah, you see here I've been giving things tags, so I can find it easily. Causality, R for data science, ggplots book for R. As said, there is also an integration with AI, and I think one can create really kind of their second brain in there. The final, I think it's the final tool I want to show you is Obsidian. I mentioned there is an AI integration as well with Claude working locally on your desktop. So it's a note-taking tool, right? But can create a knowledge graph as well. So if this is my note on, I don't know, sensors, right? So see, I've created a note. I've created a tag. When I click on this tag, it creates a new note, and I can add some content in here, right? This note is on sensors. But the nice thing is this integration with AI, right? Where I gave it a task, I downloaded the paper and I gave it a task. Please read this paper, create tags, create notes, give me an abstract. What was measured? What were the key findings? And with these tags, I can go into further notes. The graph view is something which is impressive for kind of gathering your thoughts, right? So you see here, given these tags, it creates your own graph, right? So if you're doing literature research, if you're trying to go into a new field, or maybe even writing a book, even though I'm pretty sure scientific books are not being read anymore as they were used to. I still think it's kind of a nice way to have this AI integration of collecting your thoughts, collecting your research, and generating some new thoughts and ideas based on those. So yeah, I think this was the demo session. ChatGPT is still working on the slides. I'm pretty sure it will become a good slide deck. Unfortunately, I think we won't make it. We are already 1.5 hours into our workshop. And the last part is a short discussion with you guys. I want to hear some of your thoughts on something which has been bothering me. Let me just find my slides again. So there is a paper out there, It's been published a couple of days ago. I will post the link into the chat here so you can all open it and maybe give it a read if you have the time when you're not exploring the new tools. So sharing my slides again. A short discussion round, right? So it's the thesis is dead, right? Very dramatic, but yeah, basically, there is this paper out there, you know, saying in other words, the thesis is dead, and now what? So the idea was that the written thesis was a proxy for, months of invisible cognitive work. That means you needed, a couple of years back, you needed to find the literature, and sometimes this was even the difficult part, right? So you needed to communicate to people, you needed to reach out to other research groups, to send you the papers, talk to them, etc. Then you were reading the text, you were highlighting with highlighters, right, with pens, and there was a lot of invisible cognitive work, right? So you really got into things. Nowadays, many, I'm not saying all, I'm just saying many are writing their thesis using LLMs, and these LLMs broke this proxy of this invisible cognitive work. Um, uh, and then the institutional response, that means us too, we're entering something which they call the surveillance theater, right? So we're, working on detectors. You have this, Turnitin type of tools. You need to write AI declarations. You're looking into kind of what's AI generated text there, etc. But we're quite aware, or at least I'm quite aware, that this doesn't work, right? The texts are just amazing. If you have a good command of the English language, and the AI text, this will be very similar, right? So you can still have a couple of anchors which can determine AI text, but it's becoming very good. So the real loss we have been seeing is developing hollow competence, right? So you have an output from a student, your PhD master student, but this cognitive work hasn't been in the background of this, right? So um, and we as a race, and I would dare to say, even here in Croatia, we as a nation, we're going into more policing, right? And this the idea is this isn't the solution, right? More policing isn't the way to go. And the question is, what would be the solution, right? And one of the suggestions is to creating, small cohorts, not being focused on the written text, but on your ability to defend, revise your text under critique, and showing a deeper understanding of what you do. So that being said, I have to check how to let you guys talk, because I want to hear some opinions. I think if you raise your hand, I can unmute you. I don't know if there's a general talking setting in these type of workshops, but yeah, I'm kind of welcoming to raise your hand. I will let you in. Keep it short, keep it simple. I want to hear some of your thoughts on this. Lucas, give me a second. I will try to allow mic. There you are. And allow camera.
Okay.
Yeah,
It works
works.
now. I'm
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Okay.
You're
So,
here.
so I think that we are reliving the discussion we have in the first meeting of NextAIRE, right? About the usage of AI. But maybe my opinion, without reading the paper, and thanks for sharing it, is that the thesis is not dead. Maybe the way on how we write the thesis is dead. And are we sure that we are still even using the LLM, not having the cognitive work? So I think that to write a good thesis, you still need to have a good cognitive work, meaning that you need to read the papers, you need to do your own summaries of the paper, maybe with some support still. But my opinion, the thesis is not dead, and maybe how we how we condense all the content we read in the paper, so our students read in the paper, is the way in which the LLM can support us. But uh, it's a hard work. Then not sure about reducing the cohorts. I think that is simply not possible due to administrative reasons. But of course, we need to apply more like oral discussions and oral defenses, right? We cannot only rely on text. So the same with coding. So for me, the problem is in coding. When they need to provide an exercise in code, then it's very difficult to just avoid them to use AI because sometimes we cannot detect that, right?
Yeah, the part of the discussion is, if both the student and the mentor are using AI for kind of, within the same task, right? Which is, writing and reading the thesis, it becomes more of a problem. And I've seen that in I recently received some reviews of papers where it's pretty evident that this was an AI generated review, right? So we're losing it a bit there, and I think it's becoming difficult to control. So how do you differentiate between a fully LLM written thesis and something or a person which was just using this for kind of improving the text, right? So
yeah, I know, but you will see some discrepancies in the flow of the text generally when it is 100% written by AI. That was my experience, right? But still.
I saw recently, I think it was China, not sure, where they generated this idea that a PhD thesis can be a product, right? Not the thesis, but the product. So, if you, I don't know, let's say you develop a sensor, right? The working sensor is your submission to kind of defend a PhD.
That was in the in the bachelor degrees. That was the way sometimes to just present the project, right?
Yeah,
something that works.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a good question from Amra in the chat. Is how do you think AI tools can be integrated into mentoring while preserving students' critical thinking? This is something I'm struggling with personally, right? So I'm not saying I'm a good mentor in any sort of way, right? So I'm struggling with this, yeah, very often and thinking about this and how to do this. What I noticed is in teaching, regular teaching, not in mentoring, is that I challenge them sometimes, please use the LLMs, right? You will get a very short time frame to run this task, but then tomorrow when you show up, you have to be able to defend that, right? So and then I see a shift in how we talk in class. It goes like, I don't know, ChatGPT told me to do this and that, and then I ask, why do you think this happens? And then the student says, I don't know, for statistics, I think, it used the t-test because it was a normally distributed pair, right? So, and this was kind of, where I felt, okay, humanity can still be saved. So there are probably creative solutions to this. I just think we need to figure them out. Some of us kind of will be doing that this year, maybe some of us in 5 years. But yeah, it's a task. Any other opinions in here? All right, so Animir, I will let you in. Just a second. Allow mic, allow camera, and now you can unmute yourself.
Well, just short opinion. It's either that the lazy people will get even more lazier. I think that's the general way of work with the LLMs. It's not necessarily bad, but it will be kind of a fade out for people who don't have the character to fight the laziness. And it's that, and for the academia, well, I think we'll all go back to handwritten notes, and that's the best line of defense for the most part. Everything else will always converge to the AI way of work. At least that's in the industry for now. The most of the work is being pushed in that direction.
No. Thanks, Zvonimir, for sharing your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're basically saying this is just another filter, right? So, yeah. You may have a point in there, right? I feel still we need to try to maintain global quality for all the students and the workers. But yeah, it's just another filter like master thesis used to be some time ago as well. I agree. Good. Yeah, I think we already used a lot of your time. I would just give a final look into our ChatGPT solution. So let's see what the agent did. I'll share my screen. There. So I don't know, what was it, like maybe 20 minutes? You see my screen, there is a presentation, right? Let's check this, try to enlarge in this. AI and digital tools for air quality research. Zagreb. It does know I'm from Zagreb, that's good. Presentation overview, right? Why are AI and digital tools matter? AI analysis, AI tools, mentoring, best practices, conclusions and recommendations. I feel it's a decent slide deck to start working with. So this was an AI agent. Question is, can your mentee do it better in that time? Yeah, I think they can. I want to thank you for your presence. I want to thank you for your active participation in this workshop. We will create the video after we remove some of my weird noises and sounds. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you saw a couple of things which you will be using in the future. So Davor here has shared a Google form with you, so please, give it a couple more minutes and share your thoughts with us. We would appreciate your responses. It's also deliverable for us in the project, so yeah, you would help us with sharing your opinions. Again, thanks for participating and have a nice yeah, rest of the weekend. It's coming soon. Thank you. Bye bye.